Okay, so I hope this is going to be quite a quick video for you. I'm going to look at Unit 9, Assignment 2, Task 1. It's a merit task, and you're asked to use Visio, Microsoft Visio, to design a networked solution for Frame and Glass Limited. So you've got, as part of your assignment, a plan of the building, and you've also got a list of the number of computers and the number of staff. We need printers as well. So the first thing that I would recommend that you do is that you print out a copy of that, and I have left a copy of that plan of the building. I think I've left it in Blackboard for you, so you can take that, take a print of it, and the first thing that I would do is draw on the template. I've used a different office building. Draw on the template where you would put computers. It's not so much of a problem where in the room, but just to get an idea of it, just how many computers are going to be in each room. So I've got in Office 1, I've got 4 computers. I've drawn 2 in Office 3. I've drawn 1 in the conference room. I've drawn 2 in the reception, and so forth. And I've said that I want to put my server into the workroom. So it's much easier to do that with pen and paper, probably preferably pencil and paper. You can rub it out before you start doing it on Visio. So you can get an idea of just how many PCs and what other equipment is going to be in each room. And of course I would have to add the printers as well in that drawing. When I've done that, when that's complete and I have an idea of certainly what equipment is going to be there, even without the networking cables, I'm going to go into Visio, and I'm going to copy again using Insert Picture. I'm going to copy in that same picture into my Visio plan. I might even turn the paper around. Let's see, that's under Design, Orientation. That works a bit better for that page. I'm not sure I've done that actually. That's not really worked, but you could turn the paper around if I needed to. What I can then do is I'll take these 2 off. Okay. Now that I have my drawing that I can keep referring back to, I'll have that on the desk next to me. I'm going to start drawing the equipment. So the first thing I want to do is draw the number of PCs. I chose, when I started my new design, I chose to make this a networking design, and it's given me all the networking stencils. There are different tabs here, and under computers and monitors I can see I've got all my options here. So I'm going to choose PC, just drag it across, and I can shrink it as you'd expect. And I'm going to refer to my picture again. There's 2 there, and there's 1 in the conference room. Make sure I pick up the right ones. Okay, and there's 1 in the conference room. I might be better to just do one, make it the right size and copy that around perhaps. I'm not sure where I'm going to find a printer. Peripherals. There's printers. So I'm going to drag that up there. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to work my way through, and where's my computers again? Up at the top. I'm going to check with my diagram from time to time. It'll be sitting on the desk next to me. I'm going to make sure I'm building that right. In fact, I'm going to there we go, I've got the 4 there for that room. Okay. So once I've put all the equipment onto the into the offices as I need them, I'm going to copy this printer as well. Once I've got all the equipment that I want placed down, that gives me a good idea of the spacing that I need to take up. The next thing that I need to think about, I'm going to go back to my plan because I've written some notes on there to remind me. So that's really the main part. I'll go back actually, I'm going to draw the server in as well. Let's find my server, network and peripherals. There's my server. And I said I'm going to put my server in the workroom. So I'll just drop that in there while I remember. So I'm going to come back up to this. And before you start putting the cable in, you've got to do a little bit of thinking. Look back on your old assignment. Your old assignment is good enough to give you all the answers that you need to this. You've all written them well, and they all touch on all these different aspects. So you can go back to that and use that as a reference to understand what logical topologies and what physical topology you're going to use. So one of the main factors is how many computers there are. Remember, if there are too many, you need to think about having a server. If there's just a few, then you can use a peer-to-peer. But once you get over a certain number, you're going to need a server. Then you want to think about a combination of what physical topology. Are you going to have them as a star? Are you going to put them in a ring? Or are you going to have them as a bus? And with this, you want to decide if there's a server, where are you going to put it? Start thinking about what route those cables will be taking. I've seen some that pass along the corridors. I've seen some that cut across, and I suppose the cables could go through the ceiling and don't have to follow the wall patterns. And you could consider wireless. That would be another option. So take all those things into consideration. I've done a few samples. So one option is that you can come along and you could use this Ethernet cable. And then I've put a few computers and a server router here. You can, oops, sorry, didn't mean to move it. Yeah. You can just connect these up. And if I do that, if I now move a computer, if I now move the computer, that cable will move with me. So it's fixed. So I may consider that I'd like to use Ethernet. We've got that networking cabling around college. It's a standard style, but that may not be what you'd prefer to use. Another option is that you can use these connectors here. So I may set this up finally as a ring. So I've set the top, carrying on, drop that down. And again, now that I've done that, let's drop that tool. Now that I've done that, if I move anything, the connectors are going to move with it. And I've seen this connector used and then labelled as Ethernet if you wanted to use Ethernet, or you may decide that you'd like a different type of connector. You might use coaxial, or you could use fiberglass. And another option would be wireless. So all of these things together now, you've set up your plan with all the machines, with all the printers, you've got your server there. You've decided if you're going to use Ethernet or if you're just going to use a basic connector, the connector's there, or dynamic connector there. So I can get that both of those ways. And then you're going to start joining these together. So I'm going to go for a dynamic connector. I'm going to go from here. Oh, I don't think I should have dropped that, should I? No. Hold on. Drag it over there to there. Okay, that's now joined up to the server. I've got to decide now whether these are going to come down separately. So I can bring these down here. Oh, let's join up. Okay. Am I going to join that to here in a sort of small bus, or am I going to give it a completely separate cable running down? And the same with the printer. Is that going to run down on the same? Is it going to join up? It very much doesn't want to join that cable, I'll tell you that. I'd rather have that joining there. I'm not sure how to make a join there. Okay, so I could decide I want those as a simple bus. That wasn't my original plan. I'm not sure. There we go. Okay, so those are all joined as a simple bus. That's not how I originally planned. If I had more time, I'd think about doing that a bit more carefully. When you've finished your diagram, make sure your wires are fairly much how you would like them to be. Certainly how you plan to describe the network. Not every cable needs to be in the right place, but you need to be able to explain in the next part why you've connected the way that you have. Once you've done that, you should include a key. I don't know if Visio may allow you to make a key with a simple tool, or you may choose to do your own key. Okay, something along those lines. And do that for each of the items that you choose. So this is the first part of your project. As I say, start with the drawing. Put the hardware where it needs to go in the drawing. Plan how you would like your cabling to work. Do you want a star, a bus, a ring? You may choose Ethernet. You may choose some wireless points. Then draw your plan. Try to go along with the plan as you mean to. You may have drawn those wires on your paper copy as well. But then you have the opportunity, and I say opportunity, but actually you have to do it. Your first option, your first task is the drawing, and you have taken consideration of these different items, and you will copy that in. But the opportunity in the form of your distinction, D1, task 2A, is to produce a report that justify the design. So if you feel that you've not drawn it exactly as you would like, that's not a problem. What you can do is when you do this design, you're going to have the chance to explain why you chose each component, why perhaps you chose that type of cabling, why you chose that physical topology, a star, a ring, a bus, why you maybe put the server where you did, why you use wireless. Did you have a server? If not, why not? What was your decision to do that? You're going to produce, so that is a really good opportunity for you to, if you feel your drawing doesn't give justice to your plan, because it's a very small area, to actually talk about your plans. You're asked to give 2 costing estimates. One is the most economical design, and the second is the best quality. So you may find that there are websites, particularly on Padlet, and your report, your previous assignment, talking about different type of cabling, the most cable that you need, the least cable that you need, the speed. Just to look probably for a very simple website that tells you, compares the amount of cabling and the speed for different physical topologies and different cabling transmission media. So you've drawn your Visio, your design for your network solution. Then, as I say, you're very lucky. You get to do a distinction task, which is your chance to explain this in full. And in fact, those 2 costings may mean that the cabling would be different for the 2 different designs anyway. So the cabling doesn't have to be perfect. And then this is the place where you can talk about the different components that you've used and why one is cheaper or one is faster for the shape that you've chosen and the transmission media, and perhaps even different quality servers. And then you have some other things to describe the role of each component, why you've selected that transmission media, and you will always, for distinction usually, be asked to say how you could improve things further, so any shortcomings of your design. I hope that video has helped. By the end of the video and the work that you've done, plus reading up, remember my Padlet, padlet.com/SiobhanA, that's SIOBHANA, and look at the networking Padlet, and there are websites on there, connections, to help you look at the economy of designs and the quality of designs. I hope it all goes well. See you next time in class.